Let's take a step back in time to remember who Trevor Coult really is. Because, despite the myths and polished image, the truth tells a very different story. He was never the innocent-looking kid people like to imagine. The first glimpse we get of Trevor is a boy running with his mates in Ireland, stealing, getting into trouble. Where were his parents? It's the kind of behaviour that raises questions about who he would become, and what kind of path he was already carving out for himself.
9 o'clock in the morning, came in 9 o'clock at night. No worries whatsoever. It was a brilliant place. All kids were safe. Parents didn't worry. I would go into my next door neighbour, my friend William. His mum would leave the door open, and I would go in there, open the back door, and sit in the kitchen, wait for him coming downstairs. We had a great place, and it was a nice place to grow up to grow up in. And we had new houses being built in rivers, and we'd build rafts, and we would play games and wind people up. We would just had fun. But as well as that, I'm not proud to say it, we would also go to before there was Sainsbury's and Tesco's, there was Wellworths and Wilco's and different shops. We used to go and steal the sweets. It was just part of growing. I'm not saying it's a good thing to do, but we just go in and steal a pack of Pullmans and then walk through the shop and walk out. That was my it's just messed up, but it was fun.
Yeah, man, I'll hold my hand now, man. I never did that. No, I didn't. I think we all did it. I think we all did it at one point in Wellworth, didn't we?
Yes.
Fast forward to 1994. Trevor Coult joins the Royal Irish Regiment. He would serve until 2015, including a tour in Afghanistan, something he would later write about. But here's where the lies start. He claims to have been a leader in the Iranian embassy siege, the siege that happened in 1980, when Trevor was 5 years old. Do the math. So, besides the lies, who is Trevor Coult? We know he's from Belfast. We know he has ties to the world of paramilitaries. Have you heard the name Richard David McCarten? Because maybe Trevor should do a live about him. Let's talk about Richard McCarten, a man found guilty of murder. Not rumour, not gossip, court papers confirm this. Would it surprise anyone that McCarten was Trevor's best friend? That they lived together? And when the police searched Trevor's flat, they found terror-related equipment. Was he questioned? By this point, Trevor was already in the military, floating between regiments. He was banned from internal operations and quietly moved abroad. The military doesn't move someone like that unless they have reason. Were they covering for him? In 2005, Trevor is deployed to Iraq. This is where he gets his military cross, on his first tour. But here's the reality. It was a practice run. He was top cover, not a hero charging into battle. He fired 9 rounds into the ground, hit nothing, yet he walked away with a medal. How? That's the question.
I was platoon sergeant in 2008. I still stand by this 100%, and I'll argue this point to any colonel and any brigadier. And this tactical thought process we have doesn't work, and I hated it. And I hated telling my guys to do it. I didn't want to do it. It didn't make sense. I didn't understand the thought process behind it. I was putting the troops' lives in danger by having to tick their boxes, and I hated it. And I questioned it one day to the OC, Paddy Blair, who got the DSO. He says, "I want you to go out. You're going to leave here at 1800 hours." And I'd go, I said, "What for, sir?" "To go into patrol." I said, "Do you want to come with us?" "What?" I said, "Do you want to come with us?" He went, "Why would you say that?" I said, "Because it's very dangerous." And then some of the guys went, "Oi, don't fucking question the boss," blah. And I'm like, so I headed out. We patrolled out for about 200 metres, and I came across a compound. It was empty. I said, "Right, guys, in here, secure it, search it. We're staying here till first light." And as we were on the way in, I remember being a platoon sergeant at the back, and I just seen this black puff of smoke, and my heart sank. I was like, fuck. And then I heard this screaming. I was like, fuck. Some of my guys were shell shocked. I looked down and seen my interpreter laying at the side there. He had lost all his fingers and his nose had been blown off. Then I looked down and seen my radio operator, Justin, I mean, he'd lost his legs and arms. I remember just my boss coming out, Frankie, going, fucking hell, mate. I went, because I'd done so well up to that stage. Stepping off to the left and firing a few rounds at the centre mass of this guy. But at the same time, the other two commanders had done exactly the same. So this guy had 3 sets of about, I don't know, probably 12 rounds altogether, hit them in centre chest, and he came off the bike and he lay there and he was all twisted. And I remember coming out of cover and going, fuck, straight away our mission's been compromised. I'm like, fuck's sake. And I remember moving forward and Sean went, is he dead? Is he dead? And I moved forward, I knelt down beside this guy, put my 2 fingers on his throat, checked him, I went, he's dead. And then I was like, fuck's sake. And then Dean Kerrigan, Dean Kerrigan comes around, he was the acting sergeant major, and then he goes, right, fuck's sake. Has anyone got, Speedy, have you got a body bag? I did have one, Chris, but I didn't want to give it away because they were like fucking rocking horse shit. And I was like, no, mate, I don't. And he asked the other commanders and they knew I had one and they were like, no. And somebody says bin bags. And I was like, fucking hell. So they got the bin bags out. They double bagged the bin bags. And Dean went over to this bonnie, lifted it up, threw it on top of the snatch bonnet. And he went, fuck me, it's only a kid. So, seeing you drive a brand new car, other people think they should have it. But everybody wants the rewards, but nobody wants to put in the work. Nobody wants to put in the work. They just want it to arrive. I spent 10 years on the scrap heap trying to lift my life out, having been through loads of shit in Afghanistan, and then people accuse me of war crimes. Last night I had this lengthy conversation on the phone with my solicitor, and we went through the law of armed conflict and the rules of engagement and what I carried out in 2006 by warming my feet when I was going down with pneumonia. That does not warrant a war crime, and I'll tell you now, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, whether you live at number 10, number 23, number 12, whether you're in Sussex, whether you're in Essex, doesn't bother me. I don't have to look for you anymore. I just throw money at people and they fucking find you. That's how it works in the real world. Stop attacking people. And Fiona, to go after Fiona really pissed me off. To accuse her of drifting off her dead husband really pissed me off. And I spoke to Fiona in length yesterday, and I've offered to fund any legal costs she needs to sue the person that said it. And there we go. That person's going to end up with nothing. Stop what you're doing. Now let's move on. I made a decision one day out on a patrol. One of my guys went, there's someone over to the right, and I said, right, you 3 move around there and see what that is. And then I heard this automatic gunfire. He says, right, Speedy, we've got a guy, 1 times enemy forces killed. Got my guys to sort of one of those man-made stretchers. I says, get a spot in the stretcher. I got on the net and spoke to Sergeant Major. And I just remember Frankie said to me, what the fuck have you done? He said, you can't bring him back here. I said, well, we can't leave him here. He says, well, you can't fucking bring him back. We've got Bill Neely here from ATN, fucking Radio 1 Roadshow. And here, if you bring him back here, now he'll be on the front page of every paper tomorrow. I says, well, if I bring him back, I'm doomed. I says, if I leave him here, I'm doomed. What the fuck am I to do with this guy? He says, think outside the box. I just said to my mate, Dave, hey ho, Dave, do me a favor, grab his legs. He says, what am I going to do? Fucking throw him in the river. He went, what? Grab him. After 3, boom. So I threw the body in the river. And then it clicked to me. Bodies float. So now I've got this fucking dead Taliban floating around the river. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. I went back, got in, went and seen Frankie. He says, what'd you do? I said, I did this. He went, fuck's sake. That night, and I could hear the biggest gun battle ever. And I'm like, what's happening, sir? And Frankie turned around and looked at me and he just went, what's fucking happening? You're what's happening. I had the fool looking at me. I had the you had the food, the MFCs, everyone looking at me, just going. Even the guy that puts up the UAV was looking at me, shaking his head. Frankie went, what'd you do with that body? Further down the river, there's a fucking dead Taliban stuck on wood. The locals are going mental, and the Taliban haven't stopped attacking us for an hour.
In 2006, Afghanistan. This is where the allegations pile up. Luke McCulloch is killed, and while Trevor is being accused of shady conduct, he's conveniently told to take leave. Before the investigation is finished, he's brought back and promoted to platoon commander. But his record there is nothing like what he tells the public. He shot at friendly forces, he disobeyed direct orders, he nearly got his unit and journalists killed. In the end, they pulled him from the tour and hid him as a prison guard. 3 tours in Afghanistan. That's another lie. From there, it spirals. Military prison for assault and battery.
Orders while in the army. Yes, I did. I was on orders, I think, probably 10 times. 10 times. Was I charged? Several times. I got restriction of privileges, restriction of duties.
This one. Now, as you may or may not know, I'm an ex-serviceman, and I've only just realised about this particular dude, YouTuber and military cross recipient Trevor Coult, who apparently is this big badass soldier. He's got MC after his name because he got a military cross for being brave or something. And the way that service personnel are just ignored with it really rings true. I've got PTSD. It is what it is. But this guy is supposed to be this big-ass soldier. He's got a military cross. Big soldier, big man. And, well, as it says here, this is what he really thinks about British servicemen with PTSD.
I'm down as a patron. I've asked to stand. I don't want any more veteran shit. I mean, I don't care about veteran suicide. Some people deserve to take their fucking lives.
Yeah, Connor, I did see Paz's about PTSD, and he's right. And that particular person, again, I've only just realised, I've just coming on that particular person, Gertie, whatever, I'm not going to say the rest of it, is another, like this guy, a stinking sack of piss shit. Fucking hate people like this. I mean, to turn around and say, I don't care about veterans, some people deserve to take their own fucking lives. What a wanker. What a fucking wanker. No one deserves to have to be in the situation where they feel like they're taking their lives.
Warehouse jobs, admin work in Colchester. He meets Luba online, marries her, and moves into married quarters. But even there, he causes chaos, allegedly harassing other soldiers' wives, forced to move to Suffolk. This is not the story of a hero. This is the story of a man who defrauded veterans and whose behaviour drove some to the darkest places imaginable. In Turnhill, he threatened a 17-year-old recruit in a daycare centre. The place had to be evacuated. This is who Trevor Coult really is. Beneath the uniform and the medals, there is no honour here. Only lies, intimidation, and the trail of damage he's left behind. This is Trevor Coult, Unmasked.